Nvidia's attempt to manipulate reviews on launch day for the RTX 5060 seemed to have massively backfired. They get huge amounts of negative coverage from big channels, smaller channels like mine, all over the place, and yet the card is still sitting on store shelves. This one's in stock, this one's in stock. By the way, it's a day and a half at the time of filming since these went on sale. All the other 50 series cards were sold out anywhere near MSRP at this point, so this is unusual for this launch. This one's still in stock, 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 this one's still in stock at MSRP. Again, a day and a half after launch in the most popular class of Nvidia product, the 60 series, the most affordable ones in the series, still sitting in stock at MSRP. Micro Center, multiple models at MSRP, a bunch above it as well. Click on one of those MSRP models, easily in stock at almost every single Micro Center location. This certainly doesn't speak to this having worked, right? Having sold your reputation and your relationship with tech media just to try to manipulate these launch reviews, despite the fact that Hardware Unboxed still managed to get a review out within 24 hours. Please check it out. I'll link it in the video description, despite the fact that they're not even in their home country at the moment. They're traveling to see Computex. Absolutely crazy job, Hardware Unboxed. Excellent work. And Gamers Nexus has decided to open an investigation and deep dive into more of Nvidia's shady business tactics, not just with tech media, but also with other businesses. And they're gathering a bunch of evidence on that as we speak. Now, I've gotten a lot of people commenting on my channel concerned about me as a smaller channel, and I think I was even named in Hardware Unboxed video as an example of a channel that's trying to do a good job. But if Nvidia pulls, sampling, how would that kind of a financial hit? Can I still manage to do GPU reviews? And with that in mind, I'd like to tell you to check out Jawa.gg, the place to buy, sell, and upgrade between gamers. Huge thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. This allows me to do things like buy any GPU that Nvidia doesn't want to send me and still manage to produce review content. And you can use code OWEN10 for $10 off your first purchase. And honestly, this is a super great site if you haven't checked it out. You can find exactly what you're looking for with their PC Finder. You can search by all sorts of categories, by style, by CPU, by GPU, performance in certain games. It's great. You can search for individual parts that you want. You can fund your upgrade by selling your old hardware yourself. You can list it yourself and set your own price. Or you can take maximum convenience and get an instant offer directly from Java for your CPU or GPU. And if you accept the offer, you ship it off. They deal with all of the shipping, they label all of that, and usually get paid super quickly. There's some great deals. There's tons of good reviews. Seriously, check out Java. $10 off your first purchase using code OWEN10. And a massive thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Because again, I can then do things like buy GPUs that Nvidia doesn't want me to review. For example, the 5060 Ti 8GB, Nvidia didn't sample that to reviewers. Because they knew that 8 gigabytes at almost $400 in the actual market is an absolutely ridiculous thing to be trying to sell people. But hey, look, just yesterday I posted a massive head-to-head comparison, almost 40 minutes of benchmarks, looking at the 8 gigabyte versus 16 gigabyte in the biggest games of 2025. All sorts of coverage on that. And yeah, I had to buy the 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte. That's fine. And honestly, guys, if I don't get samples, it's fine. I'll still produce my reviews. It means they won't be available on launch day, but that's fine. Guys, honestly, it was not that long ago that that's just how I did my channel anyway. For example, actually, if we sort by popular videos, things like my RTX 3080 versus 4090 video. This came out a couple weeks after the 4090 launched, still managed to get over 600,000 views and earn back most of the money I spent on buying that 4090, which was then used in tons of follow-up content, future use, etc. It paid for itself. I'll be okay, guys. I've seen that you're concerned. Now, I will also mention, though, that it is concerning for smaller channels, though. Not that my channel's not small, but I'm also in a somewhat unique financial position. I've mentioned before that I have chose to continue to teach full-time, and I have not had some kind of big lifestyle creep because I have YouTube income. I can use my YouTube income to buy things to review on the channel and things I need to run the channel. It's absolutely no issue. And anything that's left over, I can do things like save up a college fund for my kids, pay down my mortgage quicker, save for retirement. I really genuinely do still primarily do this channel as a fun hobby rather than as a job. I still teach full time because I enjoy it. So we're okay, guys. It's fine. Anyway, I did see a lot of comments concerned about me and smaller channels. Other smaller channels, though, that are doing this full time, this could be a bit of a problem. So I'm really hoping that Nvidia is getting the idea that this is not the way to do things. I want to talk about this a bit because it's really crazy to me that they went ahead and did this, and that they're trying to do this. It seems like their overall end goal, if the 5060 launch is not an anomaly that they then backtrack from, but if they double down on what they're doing here, what it generally seems to be is an attempt to make it harder for independent media outlets to produce their review content in a timely or affordable manner, while bringing to the forefront by giving early access channels who are maybe more willing to listen to how Nvidia wants them to review products. This is not a good thing for consumers because it's important to be able to trust that the reviews you're getting are actually, honest, independent opinions on the product. Now, again, though, I want to just mention, could Nvidia have just, gotten good reviews in a different way that wasn't disgustingly unethical and get this kind of backlash, which, like I said, evidence seems to point to didn't work because the 5060 is, like I said, tons of them still sitting on store shelves. Maybe they flooded the market and supply is just insane. I don't know, so I want to be clear on, statistics. I don't know what the supply was like here, but it certainly seems to be unlike any of their other launches regarding them just sitting on store shelves. Anyway, so how could Nvidia have actually maybe gotten good reviews for the 5060 from big media outlets? Well, the best way to do that is actually what would help the consumer, which is you guys. Well, they could do that by launching a product that wasn't fundamentally flawed with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Seriously. I don't want to show you the full hardware unboxed review. I'm just going to show you one of their many slides. I'd encourage you to watch the entire thing. But it is not uncommon to see the 5060 showing up kind of in between the 3070 and 4060 Ti, 8 gigabyte, and not too far ahead of a 3060 Ti. Think about it. You could have bought a 3060 Ti. Its MSRP was $399, so $100 more than this, almost, 4 or 5 years ago? Same amount of VRAM, and actually the 3060 Ti 8 gigabyte, I think has the full 16 PCIe lanes, which actually matters when you spill over the VRAM capacity, and can punish the 5060 with its 8 lanes worse than if you actually had the full 16 when you're trying to spill over into system memory. It's kind of sad here, right? Now, even though I should mention the 5060 did get a somewhat decent, not amazing, but not completely imperceptible performance uplift over the 4060. The issue is that without additional VRAM, you're just buying into a product that's already somewhat out of date the day you buy it. And a lot of people want to hold on to their GPU for 4, 5, 6 years, especially as the improvements slow down. As we head into the next console generation, VRAM usage for the core game design is going to start targeting an even higher level than it is now. And we're on consoles that are, 6 years old now, that have had 12 gigabytes-ish of VRAM available to them. It's 16 gigabytes of unified memory with a certain amount reserved for system tasks, but essentially could use around 12 gigabytes of VRAM on consoles for the last 6 years on old hardware. And yet a brand new PC product in 2025, the mainstream one that most people will end up buying, is still sitting at 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which, as I showed in my 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte content that I just published, is struggling in almost every single AAA game launched in 2025 at 1080p unless you turn down the settings noticeably. And that's when this product is first launching. It's kind of disgusting. So what could Nvidia have done? I mean, you could, when you have a certain memory bit bus, you're kind of locked into certain VRAM configurations because you can only fit a certain number of modules. So with the bit bus they went with, they're locked into 8 or 16 unless you use the 3 gigabyte VRAM GDR7 modules that are available. Nvidia has used them on some of their laptops at this point. Not a lot though. So it's possible that supply is not great on those, or maybe cost is a little bit high now. But it's very heavily rumored now from the biggest leakers that we are going to get at least some 50 series super refreshes using the 3 gigabyte modules. That's how a card like the 5080 Super is supposed to go up to 24 gigabytes of VRAM. Honestly, the 5060 should probably have just waited until those were available. If they had just waited and launched it with the 3 gigabyte modules, allowing it to have 12 gigabytes of VRAM, suddenly this chart is a lot easier to handle because you're like, okay, it's a bit faster than the 4060. Maybe the generational uplift itself isn't phenomenal, but it's at least enough VRAM to play at 1080p with most of the settings turned up in the year I buy the card, right? Now, obviously, 16 gigabytes would be even better, whatever. But like realistically here, I would take 12 gigabytes at $300 with decent performance, and suddenly maybe people who've been hanging on to some of these cards for like, 5, 6, 7 years, desperate for something to upgrade to under $400, might finally actually have something. But that's not what they're getting. So Nvidia, the way that you get positive launch reviews isn't by blackballing media, trying to pick favorites to give positive preview content and stuff like that. That just gets you massive media backlash. What you do is you launch a product that's actually exciting and good for the price, or at least reasonable. The 60 class, and I think part of Nvidia's whole thought process on all of this is that, well, the 60 class is just gonna sell itself anyway, we don't need the tech reviewers. And maybe that's true. But if it's gonna sell itself anyway and you don't need the tech reviewers, you could try to at least not make them your enemies. That can't possibly help you, even if you don't need them. Like I said, there's a lot of 5060s sitting on store shelves today. Anyway, I'm still expecting to see it hit near the top of the Steam hardware survey in a couple of years, though, guys. It's probably going to happen. So, that being the case, though, it's kind of bigger than this. We really need people in the PC space to start having access to cards with more than 8 gigabytes of VRAM, because it's really holding back PC gaming itself. Again, there's always been the thing that, PC gamer master race versus the console peasants. The console peasants have had more VRAM than you for, 5, 6 years now, and that's still continuing, and now you're buying into a brand new card that still only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. This is not the way. So this is really upsetting, and I don't like the fact that it looks like AMD is going to be having an 8 gigabyte card here as well. A true budget GPU at around $200 for 8 gigabytes I could live with, but I'm not expecting AMD's 9060 XT 8 gigabyte to be able to be priced that low. It would be a huge pleasant surprise if it was, and Nvidia's clearly not pricing their 8 gigabyte card that low either. So, unfortunately, I'm hoping that we at least get a major correction with the Super Series, where they start moving to the 3 gigabyte modules, so that wherever their bit bus is at, we can jump up to some reasonable VRAM capacity. So for now, I'm waiting on my 5060 sample. Actually, Nvidia did help connect me with Gigabyte to get me a 5060 sample, but it seems like there were some restrictions on when it was allowed to ship. So it will be a little while before I get my 5060 review out. I'm hoping I get the sample soon and can produce the content maybe over the weekend. It'll be soon. If the sample doesn't arrive, I'll buy one. It's okay. My channel's fine. Thank you for being concerned. Again, don't forget to check out jawa.gg for amazing deals, and I can get you $10 off your first purchase using code OWEN10. Check the link in the video description and/or pinned comment. I hope all of you have an excellent day.